Alrighty folks, let's chat. Normally I would want to cover like the top entertainment stories, but today I'm going to start off with something a little different. I absolutely love the show Friends. I still watch it almost every day, if not every day. And I got curious, that it's been off the air for quite some time. I mean, by that I mean they stopped filming, but they're in syndication, so they're everywhere and they're on Netflix, and that's where I watch it. And I thought, I know they made some decent coin whenever they were filming the show, but I mean, do they get any syndication revenue? And because you see these stars out there, I mean, that are still living in nice homes, and they're all still working, and it's like, I just got curious. Do they still bring in some money from that? So I looked it up, and according to an article I read in USA Today, they do. They are still making bank on that show. My mind was blown. I asked my husband, he's good with numbers, and so I said, how much do you think each cast member makes each year from the show, from syndication revenue? And he was like, a couple million. That would be, my mind was in that realm too. But according to this article, each cast member gets 2% of syndication revenue each year, and the revenue is about $1 billion per year for the show, which translates to about $20 million per year per cast member for work they did years ago. I'm in the wrong industry, I guess. That's just insane. And they still work. If you were bringing in $20 million a year for doing essentially nothing at this point, the work is already done, all you have to do is just sit back and enjoy it. Are you still going to go to work? Are you still going to look for stuff to do? Or are you just going to be like, alright, well, half the year I'll be on a beach somewhere, sipping Mai Tais and eating fruit, and the other half of the year I'll be in Italy with some guy named Fabrizio eating pasta and drinking wine? I think I'd have to choose the latter. Of course, it wouldn't be Fabrizio, it would be my husband. So, I'm just like, my mind is blown. Blown. $20 million a year. Okay. That's incredible. If those are the real legit numbers, even if it's $2 million a year, that's still good for not doing anything at this point with that particular show. Whew. Just have to let it sink in every time I think about it. It's like, that's incredible. Where am I going wrong? Anyway, so, according to, I don't remember where I read it, but I read it, so whatever. Somewhere on the internet, Prince Harry is is having one of the apartments in the palace, Kensington Palace, I believe, prepared for him. He currently has a cottage on the grounds and is having one of the apartments renovated to move into that. Now, their apartments are not like, we think of apartments as 2 bed, 2 bath, what, $1,500 a month, anywhere where I am, that's about what it is. You're in a complex with other folks. That's not what their apartments are like. When they say apartment, it's like 3 stories in Kensington Palace. This is not a small place. So, and the big news there is that apparently, hopefully, Meghan Markle, his current girlfriend, will be moving in with him. God, I hope so. Oh my God, I love these two together. I do. She just seems like a good person. I've never met her. I've never met him. I probably never will meet either of them. But I'm loving it. I am loving it. I love this couple. I think that she is kind of, the come-up girl. She's made her own way despite what, her family has gone through and where they are now, and she's still doing her thing, and she still seems like she's a good person with her humanitarian efforts and stuff. I think this is a fantastic match. I hope it works. I hope this is true. I hope that's not a bunch of bull that I read. And I hope they move in together and get married and have babies and stuff. So, anyway, moving on. Apparently Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I don't watch it. I used to when I was in college, but, you grow up. but I still talk about it. Anyway, has taken a bit of a ratings dip. They were not pulling in the numbers from, there was a couple episodes that they were expecting to pull in big numbers from, with Kim being robbed in Paris. They thought that that episode would bring in quite the crowd, and it did not. They did not do what they were expecting. From what I read, the family is a bit worried about potentially being canceled at some point. I don't know. Are people getting tired of the family? Are people getting tired of what they see as a lot of made-up story for a storyline instead of their actual lives? I'm not saying that what Kim went through is a lie or anything like that. I do believe she was robbed. And I'm glad she made it out of that alive. That's an incredibly scary situation. I've never been through that. I cannot imagine what was going through her mind. That's intense. So I'm glad that she's doing well. But I mean, I think that a lot of the stuff that happens on the show is just fabricated for your viewing pleasure. Not mine. Like I said, I don't watch the show. So maybe people are getting tired of it. I don't know. We'll see. Dave Chappelle has a couple of specials on Netflix. Now, he filmed these while he was on tour. I've seen him on tour. I actually saw him not at either of these shows, but it was, I think, a couple years prior to that, probably in 2013, I saw him perform. And I was a little worried about him. I thought that he seemed maybe tired. Of course, it is in Texas, and it was like July or something. It was summer, and it was really hot, so I can understand if he were a little overheated. He kept patting himself, talking about the heat, which is understandable. But he just didn't seem really on his game. He wasn't particularly lively. He was just, I felt like he was going through the motions at the show that I went to. I still enjoyed it. I thought he was very funny. I got my money's worth, that I felt like, so I wasn't really disappointed. I was just more concerned for him, like, is he doing okay? I know he had been away from the spotlight for a while and wanted to get some things together, and I wasn't sure if he was ready at that point. So, but anyway, so he did these two specials after that, and he reportedly was paid $60 million for both of those on to be aired on Netflix. I watched both of them. I thought I saw a completely different Dave. I thought that he seemed well. He was energetic. But a lot of people are apparently offended by some of the material that he presented. He did focus a bit on Bill Cosby, on some trans folks, and some folks are offended that he portrayed, but like he didn't seem. I don't think Dave is pro-rape. I don't think that. He made some jokes about that, though, and he was talking about pitching a show to some, I guess, network executives about a superhero who does great things, but he rapes. And in the end, it sounded like he would be talking about Bill Cosby and how much he admired him prior to all of this, and that he was like, so I guess he kind of tied those two together in that Bill Cosby did all these good things, but he raped apparently a lot, allegedly. And so I thought it seemed like he was tying Bill to the superhero character. I think if someone is offended by something that a comedian says, I think that a lot of times, I mean, are people just overly sensitive? Some, sure. But was he, I mean, I laughed at his show that I watched on the two specials I saw on Netflix, but I was watching it and I cringed a bit. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna go well for him. Yeah, kind of. I know this was a couple years ago, Dave, but so maybe at the time he wasn't as sensitive to the issues as more things have come to light now, and there's more understanding for trans people. I mean, I think there are people out there that are too sensitive. You can't make jokes about almost anything without somebody being offended. But were his jokes a little... I would say some of them were a bit... they weren't very tactful. But I think that a lot of times when people joke about something, it's that they don't understand it, so they joke about it, or it doesn't apply to them, and so maybe they joke about it. Like, men probably aren't going to laugh at jokes about the Lorena Bobbitt story. And there's women that have a hard time laughing about the idea of rape. And so, and I know plenty of folks that, like, if you make jokes about Christianity and they're Christians, they're not going to take it so well. And so I think that it just depends on the person's mindset and possibly their beliefs and their own experiences. I mean, yeah, I guess that's my take on it. So there's going to be people that are overly sensitive. There's going to be people that are that are perfectly sensitive and have I guess, an understanding of the material and can just kind of take it in stride. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?